Okay, so we're recording. So I sent out an email today about what's called emergency conditional certification. So most of you know that the testing centers have been closed. It's been very difficult to get dates to take praxis testing. And even though there's an online version that is out now, it is still kind of difficult to get into that. And all the tests are not on there. If you're in English, biology, or chemistry subject teacher, you do not have a test available to you. So in a meeting with the state on Saturday, they said they're still looking into emergency certifications, but they didn't have any way of approving that as of Thursday evening. In a emergency call with Baltimore City Public Schools, who was very concerned about having new teachers join them this year, has made the decision that they are offering all alternative cert program participants. So that's BCTR, Urban Teachers, and Teach for America. They're offering what's called a conditional certification. So this is a certification that's in their power to get people started to teaching at their discretion. So they're offering that to our residents to start teaching this fall. And so that what it does, it gives you some time to get testing completed this year. The hope is to move you to your regular certification by the end of the year, but this does two things. One, it lets you start getting hired and interviewing and participating in all kinds of job-related activities, and it gets you in the classroom in the fall without completing tests. So that is what the conditional certification is. The difference from the certification, the conditional certification to the RTC, is that you, under the conditional, you are just working as an employee for the school. You don't have a pathway to get to your standard certification, which you would get through BCTR. Once your test is completed, we move you to your regular certification, your regular provisional certification, so that you can get your SPC. So that is the goal at the end of this year, is to get you're tested and then on to your regular certification so that you can participate and get to your standard certification by the end of your 2-year residency. Couple other things. So what is required for you to get onto this conditional certification? So in my email, I emailed out that you will need to complete your higher application that you started when you were a finalist. So I have been emailing a couple of you over the weekend to complete your application. So some of the common mistakes that people are making on the application is that they're applying for a position that is this year, 19 to 20, but you want to be applying for a job position for the next year coming, the 2021 school year. So if you haven't done so already, please double check that if you've gotten an email from me. The other thing that they're missing is the EPI test. So the EPI test is a test that you get after you've chosen a position. You get emailed an EPI test. Sometimes this test gets put away in your spam box or put into a junk folder. So check there first if you have not gotten that yet. If you have not gotten it and you checked your junk folder or spam folder, you can go back into your application and have it reset. There's a point at the end of your application where you can have the EPI test resent to you. A couple things about the EPI test. It is a 100-question test. It doesn't have anything bearing on how you're hired. It's not a pass-fail test. It's a personality test, basically. It needs to be completed in order to be visible to principals to hire you. You have to do it in one sitting. You can't pause that exam and then come back to it, then it'll restart. And you can only restart it 3 times, and then they'll have to have IT help you with that. So those are the 2 main things. Make sure your application is complete. So if you have received an email from me over the weekend, that means that you have some additional things that they're missing. Today, City Schools is going to go back and check through those applications and see if they're up to date. By tomorrow, if they still have some issues, I will keep emailing people until we get those issues resolved in your application so that you can be available to hire. With that said, so after today, City Schools will, if your application is up to date and you've had a welcome call or you're on this call, or you're come to an event past this date. So if you come to orientation next week, you can consider that your welcome call. You will be eligible to hire. So what does that mean? So once they make you visible in the system, that means that principals can go in and start contacting you. You can also contact schools about job positions, and then you will start to get invitations to job fairs as well over the next couple of months. And so once that happens, you'll start participating in those events and working towards being employed at a school. In the email that I sent, I outlined some things that you want to think about. So one of the biggest things that we want for you and hope for you in work looking for a position is finding a right fit for you. I think for most of you that I've talked to on welcome calls, I've stated like over the past 18 years that we've been in existence, everyone that passes PST, we've been able to place in 100% employment at that point. So the issue is not jobs. There's going to be plenty of jobs that will be available through city schools. The issue is being in the right school for you. You have to be in that school for 2 years under your provisional certification, whether it's the conditional or the regular RTC certification. As a provisional teacher, you need to be in that school for 2 years. So it's important that your work environment is something that you feel nurtured in and feel like it's a place that you can grow for 2 years. The tendency is to really take the first thing that you can get or just jump on a job. But that what you want to do is really focus in on the community, asking questions around that. We'll talk a lot more during orientation about jobs. We'll be doing some mock interviews with principals and things of that nature, but I'm just giving out some quick things if you start getting contact from schools. The other thing is that when you go into an interview with the principal, you definitely want to be all the professional things apply. Sometimes people get nervous because they've never worked in education or they've never applied for a teaching position before. Principals that know that, know our program, know that a lot of our people are career changers. So in your application, you've stated that you're a BCTR participant. And so they'll know who they're talking to when they talk to you. The main things that you want to make sure that you're doing in those interviews is be confident about why you're moving into teaching. You're either changing your career or coming out of school to go into teaching because you have a passion for it or you feel you want to make a difference. You want to talk about that when you are in interviews with school administrators. The other thing that you want to do is talk about what you would bring to that community, how that your vision of how you're working with students would be a great asset to that school. Most schools on city schools have a website, and on those websites, most principals do have a mission statement or things that they want to accomplish with that school. You may want to read that, get familiar with what that principal's kind of accomplish for two reasons. One, you want to see that if that's something that you believe in, that you want to be moved forward with. And then it also helps you connect and see yourself and place yourself in that community. So those are the two main things as you're interviewing with principals and school officials to really start making a case for you to be at the school. At this point, the experience or lack of experience is not the issue. They know that you're going to be part of a training session over the next 6 weeks or over the next summer for 6 weeks. And so that part of it, they understand and have a vision of what that is, but they want to know who you are, why you're coming to teaching, and what you bring to that school. The other thing that's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks is that you're going to be getting a list of schools that have open positions. You maybe get them from me, you may get them from city schools directly. And so that helps you in your job search to find schools and contact schools that are looking for positions in your certification area. If you do not see your certification area on a particular list, do not panic. Those lists get updated every other week, and the hiring season goes all the way into August. So as a program manager, one of my jobs is to make sure that, well, my goal is to have everyone hired before you start training. is what I would love to see. That way you can just focus on training and know where you're going after you complete training. Not everyone will have a position, but that's my goal. So we're going to be pushing over the next month, really, to get everyone in a position. But do not worry if you don't have a position by time you start training. Those lists are updated on a regular basis, and we'll work through that. What else? For those of you looking through SurveyMonkey right now, there you know that there's a checklist item for resumes. So in that group, usually in the past, what we try to do is do a review of your resume, make sure it's all up to date and everything of that nature, and we'll still probably do that. But because of the nature of this time and so many people coming into teaching currently, hold on one second. Because of the speed that city schools is moving right now, I want to give a couple quick things about the resume. Most of you guys have a resume already. The two things that I want you to do to make sure that you're doing when you apply for schools or re-upload your resume into the hiring portal is, one, in that checklist item, there is a template for a resume. And the important part of that template is that it's on BCTR letterhead, and then it has some language under education about the training program this summer. Those are two main things that you want to take away from that template. That is going to help principals just get a stronger idea, like, yes, this is a BCTR enrollee, and this is what they're going to be doing this summer. So that's stated at the very top. Try to keep your resume to 2 pages max. If you need help, we can set up time to help with resume writing. But those are the main things. Using the template, keeping it concise is going to be big. The other thing is that because of the opening of hiring, and then you saw some language in my email about contacting me once you have a offer, so that we can talk about that community fit and the type of school. So I'm going to be sending out some office hours to everyone that I'll just be online, that you can jump in, pop in, talk about hiring or any prospects or interview. I'll try to set up 3 for each week so that you guys can pop in along with some other chat times. So that will be important, so that you have some time that you can let me know what's going on and get some advice on schools. The last thing I'll say here is that there is a list of schools that BCTAR is supposed to be partnering with this year. So not all schools are going to be available for hire for us. There's 170 schools in Baltimore City, and this list has 140, I believe. The list is the concentrated poverty schools. So there's certain funding for these type of schools that the city gets to have alternative certification residents teaching those schools. So that will be coming out to you guys very soon. Other than that, I think that is everything that I wanted to let you guys know. I'm going to see if I can manage a chat here for everyone. And just wanted to make sure I have someone that says they can't hear me. Shake your head or give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, great, perfect, awesome. All right. For those of you, we have some time here before 4. If you can type in the chat if you have any questions that you hear, and I'll see if I can answer these as quick as possible here. I have a question. Is the resume only for interview purposes, or should I upload it anywhere else? The interview is for interview purposes, but if you can re-upload, if you uploaded a resume into your hiring portal and you update it, just reload the new one into the hiring portal. That will be helpful to you as well. Can you talk more about the template for the resume? Yeah, the template is just a Word document that has our letterhead on it, and then it has some language about the training under education. So you can put your bachelor's or master's information underneath that training for BCTR. And then under there, it's kind of just like a regular template, like your experience, and so on and so forth. I don't see my job area Dropbox of the application. So if you're going in to apply for a position, there should be a spot where it says either for this particular person, elementary ed, it should be, say, elementary education school year 20 to 21. And you just hit that and they'll go through that information. There should be one for each one of our service LOs. So we do elementary ed, early childhood, English, math, biology, chemistry, and then special ed as well. Where can I find the EPI test? The EPI test is mailed to you after you've completed the full application and applied for a position. Like I said earlier, sometimes it's stuck in your spam or junk folder. Look in there. If you do not see it, go back into your application, and I believe at the very end of your application or at some point in your application, you should be able to resend it to yourself. And I will check with city schools about where that is exactly. When the Blackboard course, so the enrollment course is available a week or two after you're enrolled. That gets updated at the end and the beginning of each week. So that will come in an email to you. Right. So the Praxis, so someone asked about the Praxis Core and Praxis 2 exam deadlines. So we want you to take the Praxis Core and Praxis 2 as soon as possible. That is the goal. So if you have a date to take it in June and you can, please do. This extension is going to help you have time to December 31st to actually take those exams, but don't push it back. Especially if you can get it done in August when you're out of training and before school starts, that's the ideal time to take those exams because you'll have some time to focus and concentrate. You don't want to take those exams into the fall when you're teaching and trying to get a handle on your first year teaching and may have to retake an exam. So try to take them as early as possible. Don't delay tests if you already have a date. Just keep the dates that you have. This is to help people that have not gotten dates yet or have dates that are getting into August and September. How will interviews be conducted? Yes, so right now interviews are going to be conducted virtually. So principals are being trained on how to do interviews. We are also working with principals to help them learn how to do interviews online, as well as city schools. During orientation, we're going to have some principals that are going to be doing mock interviews. So as you are doing a mock interview with principals, some principals that haven't had experience doing virtual interviews will be learning how to do that with our residents as well. So yeah, everything's going to be virtual. At the very least, a phone interview. Is there any word on whether schools will be open for this fall for teaching? Schools are definitely going to be open for the fall. They are contemplating a lot of things. So the superintendent of schools last week met with all city staff about what they're thinking about. So they are thinking that it's probably going to be a combination of online classes and some percentage of classes coming to school. So it may be AB day. So half the school may come on Monday, Wednesday, and the other half may come on Tuesday, Thursday, so they can put in some of the social distancing guidelines. That may work for high school. They may have a lot of virtual learning that they're going to be doing. So they have not decided on exactly what. They just know that school is going to happen and they need to have teachers. So this is why they did this emergency conditional certification so that they can put people in place and know who they have. The hiring portal, did you mean the city? Yes, the city schools hiring portal. So the hiring portal is the one that you go into Baltimore City Schools to find employment. Will we still continue Baltimore City's public schools employees on this emergency conditional? Yes, so the only difference from this certification to the one that you would be on with BCTR called the RTC is that the RTC lets you take coursework with us in order to get your certification. The conditional, if you stay on the conditional, you have to get your certification from a traditional source. So for most of you, that means you have to take a master's, get a master's in education in order to get your certification. So that's why it's important that you finish the praxis testing before the end of the year so that we can move you to the certification with BCTR. That way, the coursework that you're going to be doing with us this fall, your summer training, is all going to count to your certification as a graduate level coursework, as opposed to having to do that on your own. If you have a master's degree, you still take the Praxis Core exam. Yes, everyone has to take the Praxis Core exam unless you have a qualifying ACT, SAT, or GRE score. I know some people have talked about seeing on the ETS site if you have a 3.0 or higher in your bachelor's or master's, you do not have to take the Praxis Core. Unfortunately, that does not apply to alternative certs like us, Teach for America, Urban Teachers. That legislation is still still being voted on or still being reviewed, and it will likely pass. But because of everything that the state is dealing with right now, it really is on the back burner to be moved forward. So if it happens over the summer, that's great, and you haven't taken your Praxis Core, that would be great. But right now, I wouldn't count on that. So either Praxis Core or taking or a qualifying score on your ACT, SAT, or GRE. I completed one of my unofficial transcripts, but I turned it on. As far as transcripts, I think what this is asking is that turning in transcripts. So we will need your transcripts in order for you to complete the training this summer. So transcripts are still able to get, if you look on the SurveyMonkey apply thing for transcripts, it gives you instructions on how to either put them in physically or do digital. Digitals have been coming to me like the day or two after people put them in. So we do still need the official transcript for you to teach on your certification. So get those in as soon as you can. For Praxis, are we supposed to complete? So right now, to enter the program, you have to have Praxis Core and Praxis 2. Praxis 2 is what most of you signed up for coming into the program. Those are entrance exams. This certification delays that to the end of December, but you still need those exams in order to be considered on a certification that gets you to work with our coursework and to have your residency on the right track. Do we wait until we complete Praxis in order to submit our scores and finish the hiring? No, finish your hiring application ASAP. If you have not completed it, don't wait for Praxis scores. Right now, you'll be eligible to hire once you've completed that application, but it has to be completed in full or they're not going to make you visible to apply. So right now, with this certification, you will be able to be hired without Praxis test completed. But please, the application is an absolute must. Is okay. To receiving teacher. So someone asked about teaching certification. So, and the state of Maryland. So once you've completed the 2-year residency with us, you're officially able to teach in your subject area, any public school in the state of Maryland. If you want to go to a different state, most states will do transfers of certification. You just have to fill out some paperwork. But it depends on the state. Some states are easier than others. But we can help with that once you get to that point. Someone asked about GRE score. real quick, I'll go through the qualifying score. So for SAT, if you have 1100 combined verbal and math, that is a qualifying score. On ACT, if you have a combined score 24 or higher, that is a qualifying score. For the GRE, if you have a combined score of 297, that is a qualifying score. So somebody asked about when employment starts. So employment starts the day after Labor Day. So that would be the first time that you're teaching in your class. Some schools may have you come in earlier, and that will be your first day of getting paid. You will do a training in mid-August that will be, you'll get paid for as well, but that won't come until your official paycheck. But most people start the day after Labor Day, would be the day that you're would be an official employee. Actually, your first day as an official employee will be when you go to the first year Baltimore City teachers training, and that would be sometime mid-August. They haven't come up with the date yet. Let's see. So someone asked about certification. So the certification process with us takes 2 years. Your first year, you're going to be continuing your training that you did during the summer, what's called TNTP Academy, 1 course a week. That course is about 3 hours worth of work each week. And you'll also be working with a coach that we assign to you that will be coming to your classroom at certain points during the school year. Your second year, you're on your own. You're just working on getting paperwork done to get your certification. And I work closely with our second year teachers to get that done. Were you able to get artificial transcript? Someone asked about transcripts in their school reopening. Email me if you have issues with transcripts, and we can hopefully come up with some way around that. As far as people knowing what's missing, I will email you if there's something missing on your application. So City Schools looks at their application, they go through it, and they email me who is still lacking something. So I will almost, not daily, but every other day will be sending an update. So if I haven't emailed you, then you're good to go. I'll do a couple more questions here. So someone asked, they were a little confused about, they thought that the training was for just 1 year. So you have 1 year of coursework with us. The second year, you are still under a provisional certification, but you don't have coursework with us or a coach. At the end of that second year, once you've completed, you'll still have some practice testing in your second year, especially if you are special ed, that you'll need to complete in order to be what's a full standard certification. If you are special ed, during your first year, you'll have some additional coursework to get you ready for that special ed certification and to give you some practical work working in special ed during your first year. Mailing address. So someone asked about the mailing address to where to send transcripts. If you go into SurveyMonkey and look under the transcripts checklist item, it has all the information where to send transcripts or how to send them, and also information about the digital ones. And if you have a foreign transcript that needs to be evaluated, there's information on there about that as well. Someone asked about applying for an MAT program that begins in the fall. I'm assuming that is a master's program or hold on one second. A program that is a college level course. I would not try to do any kind of coursework other than what you're going to be doing during your first year. Along with being a first year teacher, you have coursework with us your first year. And between the two, it is a lot. Some people do try to do that, but it is challenging. Somebody said, "Bless you," to whoever sneezed. That is basically it. So I know I probably didn't hit everybody's questions or things, but I did want to get out some general information about what's happening. Things are going to move pretty fast in terms of like hiring and getting people to interview. Again, for those of you that are going to be joining us in the May orientation next week, you will be getting more information, as well as we will be emailing out more things to you guys. And now that City Schools has opened up application, you'll start getting some emails from them as well. But again, I wanted to just get this out there to people today. And I will get out those office hours to people so that we can have like more of a one-on-one conversation and get out the list of things that are coming up to you guys. Other than that, I'm going to check more for more questions. Information regarding housing assistance. There are a couple questions about BEEC. I will address those. I know that a couple people have emailed me, so I will address those in email. Other than that, I'm excited for you guys to start getting hired. This is really is a big breakthrough in terms of this challenge with the quarantine. And so City Schools has really stepped up to the plate. This is something that they really, in emergency situations didn't want to do, but the situation and them not having teachers this year was greater than having to manage these certifications. And we're going to talk more about how to move from that back to the regular certification, but this gives everybody some breathing room to start getting hired, start easing some fears around what's going to happen. So the takeaway that you get from this is that, one, City Schools needs teachers and they want to hire as quick as possible. Two, that you are eligible or can be eligible pretty quickly to get hired. You just need to finish up those applications. And three, hopefully we can get people in so that you can focus in on training this summer. Like I said, we'll talk some more, but I am excited for this step, and we are heading into the last month before training. So this is all good news and this is all good stuff. Again, email me. I know I have a email basket full of emails from you guys, so I'm going to try to get through most of them in the next day or so. But it's all good. It's all great stuff. Again, stay safe and stay healthy, and we will talk soon. All right, you guys, talk to you later.